So I first and foremost want to give a shout out to my friend Justin from the Cynical Cypher who tagged me in to do one of these videos. I can't thank you enough, man. And that being said, you should totally go check out Justin's channel, the Cynical Cypher, link in the description down below. I mean, if you like movies, and you like talking about movies, and movie reviews, and all that jazz, you're gonna dig his channel. I know I do, and I know that he makes some fantastic content, and we've done a few collabs in the past, so I'm glad that I can do this yet again. And this video's kind of been a long time coming, so let's talk about what scared me as a small child. What's up guys, I'm jacobtsuggs and welcome back to another video. And today I'm not talking about one specific film or a group of films, but rather what scared me as a small child. I don't know, I've been seeing a lot of these childhood trauma videos on YouTube circulating around for a long time now, and I guess it was really only a matter of time before I personally got tagged in one. And honestly, I was kind of looking forward to getting tagged in one of these videos because I'm an easily spooked person and an easily scared person as well. I almost said easily scared child, but I'm 20. I'm a grown man. I ain't no child no more. That being said, as a kid, I was very easily afraid of things. I just know that as a kid I was easily afraid by a few things and a few select things when it comes to movies and media, and so that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about now. And I also want to mention that, you know, these things probably aren't going to be scary now, well, except probably for a few things. But the majority of these aren't going to be scary, but keep in mind they were scary to like my 6-7-year-old self, not my 20-year-old self. Back then I was afraid of weird stuff, now I'm afraid of like taxes. That being said, the first thing that scared me as a small child were heffalumps from Winnie the Pooh. Not woozles, woozles are dope, but heffalumps, not so much.
They're black. They're round. They're out. They're down. They're in. They're out. They're all about. They're far. They're near. They're gone. They're here. They're quick and slick. They're insincere. Beware. 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 A heffalump or woozle is very confusal. A heffalump or woozle's very sly.
And just a quick side note before I get too deep into this, I always thought that they were called huffalumps, but I just found out when researching them for the sake of this video, they've always been called heffalumps. Mandela effect. We're in a different Earth, confirmed Earth 2. Bring it on. All jokes aside, these things tripped me out so much when I was a kid. If you don't know what a heffalump is like when Winnie the Pooh eats a lot of honey and kind of goes on an LSD-esque drug trip and sees these like striped and polka dotted elephants. And if you look at it now, they aren't that scary. They're just elephants that have like polka dots and stripes and so on. But I remember it wasn't just the music that tripped me out and kind of scared me about these things when I was a kid, and not just the design and overall look of these creatures, but rather the narrator's voice whenever Pooh is entering into this land. He's got like that really deep, like narrating, spooky voice, and as a little kid that really freaked me out.
Heffalumps and woozles, heffalumps and woozles, steal honey, beware, beware.
And whenever you combine eerie music, weird designs for elephants, and a really eerie, deep, dark, brooding voice, they kind of just converge into like one giant fear. So as a kid, these things hit me pretty hard, and now I'm not that afraid of them. I know what they are. I think it's a really weird choice to put that in something like Winnie the Pooh. In fact, I have one memory of whenever I went to Disney World with my family and we rode the Winnie the Pooh ride. I remember I was sitting in between my parents in the middle of the little cart that pushes you through the ride. And I remember right whenever they had the segment about the heffalumps and the woozles, I remember I was so freaking afraid. I just remember really being afraid, but I don't think you can blame me because that really doesn't fit well into the universe of Winnie the Pooh, which is really happy and fun and exciting for the most part. So whenever you have like this weird drug trip scene, it just doesn't add up to me.
They're black. They're round. They're out. They're down. They're in. They're out. They're all about. They're far. They're near. They're gone. They're here. They're quick quick and slick, they're insincere. Beware, 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 beware.
Now, the next thing on my list, honestly, isn't scary, and it didn't scare me or, freak me out as a kid, but I just remember it being so weird and bizarre that I feel like I have to mention it. There was a show called Mr. Meaty on Nickelodeon about these two guys that worked at a fast food chain. If you know what I'm talking about, you know exactly what I'm about to say. This show was not only one of the weirdest and most bizarre things I've ever seen in my life, but the fact that Nickelodeon made this show stand out by using puppets is odd. In fact, one of the main characters' names is Josh, and if you look very close, Josh has like that early 2000s emo haircut to where the hair goes over one of the eyes. But if you look very closely, they didn't even bother putting a second eye for Josh because the hair is always flipped over it. However, there are a few select scenes to where Josh is running and his hair flips up, and I remember seeing that as a kid going, why doesn't that guy have an eye? And then again, the whole show was just really bizarre and weird and creepy. I actually watched a few episodes for the sake of doing this video, and I've got to say, the show, I can't call it bad, but I can say that it's probably the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And did the show belong on Nickelodeon at the time? Probably, but it was a weird choice to greenlight a show of this style when puppet things weren't as popular to kids at the time. I don't really get it, and I suppose that nobody ever will. I just remember this show being super creepy and super weird and bizarre, so I just felt like it was worth mentioning here.
All God's creatures, fresh off the grill. So come on down to Mr. Meaty where friends meet.
Okay, this is gonna be really quick, and I'm gonna have to mute the volume whenever I show you this clip, so I'm probably gonna overlay it over what I'm talking about. Because when I was a kid, there was a Paramount VHS commercial that came on before your movie did, and it was set to the tune of Happy Days. If I put that in my video with the Happy Days track underlying it, some third party is gonna see that and go, oh my lord, he put Happy Days in his video for a solid 13 seconds. That is awful. So that being said, I'm just going to talk about what scared me as a kid really quickly in this VHS promo commercial, and then I'm going to move on to like the final things. Now, this particular VHS promo showcased a lot of the films that Paramount was releasing at the time and was, I guess, going to be on DVD very soon. But that being said, there was a commercial for a film called Dragon World, which, after talking to my friend Jay Hilborn and doing some research, we found out that it was actually direct to DVD. And it probably sucks, but I just remember that there was a scene in the promo to where a woman sees this little puppet Jim Henson dragon thing, and she screams, and the dragon makes a really weird scream face back to her in return. It's hard for me to explain, but I feel like whenever I show you the clip over what I'm talking about now, it's gonna make like 20 times more sense than what I'm actually saying.
Look what I found! These days are all, share them with me.
I guess a mini dragon and a promo for upcoming VHS releases just doesn't add up for me. And the final thing that I want to talk about today is actually something that I consider now to be pretty frightening. And I say that because this is actually something that was produced a few years ago by Del Toro. And if you know Del Toro and Del Toro's work, he's done some weird stuff. But he's into the weird, bizarre stuff and creepy stuff, so you kind of know what you're getting into. I had no idea that he actually produced this until the other day because I remembered this promo as a kid scaring me, but whenever I saw that he produced this project in particular, I'm like, that makes sense. A few years ago, I believe back in like 2010 or 2011, there was a horror film released called Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. And it looked kind of generic, but according to Rotten Tomatoes, it's actually supposed to be pretty good. But I remember specifically sitting at home watching Cartoon Network one night, and this television promo spot comes on, and it starts off with this little girl sitting in her bed. She goes under the covers with a flashlight, and I'm not going to tell you what happens. I'm just gonna show you. And Lord knows, this is gonna suck when I edit this video because I don't even want to watch this.
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here.
Holy crap! I know, right? I hate it so much. But see, that's also how you use a jump scare effectively. If I jump at the thing that's supposed to scare me, I'm totally cool with it. But if I jump and it turns out to be like a cat on a keyboard, like in that one Paranormal Activity movie, I'm gonna be a little bit upset. But the thing is, that was an effective jump scare used in a television spot for what would be probably a really good horror film, so it's no surprise that actually scared me. I don't really like horror movies, you guys know that. I can respect the genre, but it's not my genre of choice, if you kind of get where I'm going at here. That being said, I was scared so easily as a kid, and talking about it now is just a lot of fun because, looking back, half of this stuff wasn't even scary. Heffalumps are just weird and bizarre. Mr. Meaty is just a really odd show, and Don't Be Afraid of the Dark is actually terrifying. So I guess you could say it's more of the bizarre stuff that I've seen as a kid and grew up watching rather than the scary stuff, because growing up, I really wasn't accustomed to watching horror films or scary movies in general. That's just not what my family was really into, and me as well. So it would make sense that the stuff that did trip me out was more bizarre and weird and stuff that wasn't really on my radar at the time as a kid. And looking back at it now, I also remember an episode of Jimmy Neutron to where a pizza came to life, and that was a weird episode. I just felt like I needed to say it. That being said, I also have to tag a few people to talk about what scared them as a child, so I'm gonna tag my friend Houston Productions 1, I'm gonna tag my friend Julian from Cinema Studios, and I'm also gonna tag my friend Chance from CWFMAN on Twitter and here on YouTube as well. And I also want to challenge Aubrey Studios 82 to talk about what not only scared him as a small child, but maybe one thing that scared Lego Batman as well. I feel like it could be fun. I'm just saying, Jonathan, you totally should. That being said, what scared you as a child? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, I'm FrameByFrame. Remember the name, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.